You always take shots from folks who just don't get the joke.
I'll hold you in contempt.
I hold myself in contempt!
What's going on, everyone? It's Daemon Michael with the House of Contempt. Thank you for joining us on our maiden voyage out here into the realm of podcasting. I'm pretty excited to get started. First off, I want to apologize for the sound quality on these mics. I was hoping to have that kind of fixed by the time I got started, but that didn't seem to be the case. So we're going to grow from that. We're going to learn. We're growers, not showers here at the House of Contempt. All right, well, welcome to the podcast. So, kind of a whole jumble of things here. I'm not really exactly sure where to get started or where to go. One thing I wanted to kind of start out doing, I'm a big, if you know me, I'm a big music guy. I like to combine my music with my comedy, or it's just all big one influential thing for me. So I want to start off by like doing an album. I don't know how often I'm going to record these episodes. Right now it looks like it might be once a month. Could be twice a month. We'll see. Right now I want to start off just the one month thing. I'm doing album of the month. And this is an album that I've been jamming on lately. I got my girlfriend into this band. And I've been a fan of them since about high school. But this new album is definitely worth recognition, and that is Modern Primitive by Septicflesh. Go check those guys out. I got my girlfriend into that band. She's a big orchestra nut. It's kind of symphonic, orchestral death metal. It's fucking amazing. Neuromancer, Desert Throne. It's got some fucking bangers on there. So go check it out. That's going to be our album of the month here at the House of Contempt. I'll link a few songs in the description. Go check them out on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to music. That's Modern Primitive by Septicflesh. Yeah. I don't know if I can sample anything on the podcast, but if I can, I'll play a little bit of it. But go check that out. Speaking of music, I just finished up doing the Magic City Blues Fest. I work stagehand for that. I do loading, unloading for the bands. It's pretty fun. The Blues Fest was... they did it at a different spot. Normally they shut down downtown in Billings, but they did it at the Metro this year, which was pretty cool because they could do a bigger stage. Leonard Skinner performed, Whiskey Myers, St. Paul and the Broken Bones. I love all those guys. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, stage work. It's been a fun time doing that. I got laid off this summer, and to kind of supplement my income, I've been doing the stage work, and that's been actually really fulfilling. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to start doing we're going to be doing theater work with the stage guys this winter, so we're going to be doing all the Billings Orchestra shit, Nutcracker Suite, what have you. It's a lot of fun, kind of physical. I worked, I don't know. I think I did the math. I worked like, 30, I worked about 40 hours the last 3-4 days. Pretty intense shit. You're just lifting trusses all day, listening to the guy move that here, screw that in there. I built a few stages. These stages that we build, at least the ones outdoors, they come in on the back of a semi. So as you're driving down the road, you might mistake them for a semi at first glance, but they unfold into these giant, big concert stages. I did one at the zoo for Whitechapel. And Shadow of Intent. That was a smaller one, but the one we did for Leonard Skinner was huge. It was considered a festival stage, and it was fucking awesome. If you look at my Instagram, I posted some videos of Leonard performing. We don't get a whole lot of chance to watch the bands all the time, because sometimes we're working, but got to hear Freebird, Sweet Home Alabama, Tuesday's Gone, Simple Man. Those are all fucking cool to hear. I don't know who's all left in that band from the original lineup. I just saw I just saw a lot of tribute videos on their backdrop. So I know a lot of them are dead, and I could kind of tell who was the original members by who looked oldest. And I think there's two. I don't even know if that's it. They didn't even call it Leonard Skinnerd on their semi. It's just Skinnerd, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with the remaining members or something like that. They don't want to call it Leonard Skinnerd because I'm assuming Leonard was a guy. Leonard, I'm assuming, So, not sure how that all worked out, but again, it was an awesome show. I can't wait to see next year's Blues Fest. We had the Metro Pavilion was a great place to do it. They had a blues bar, battling pianos. Shout out to our boy TJ at Cameron Records, who I do open mics for. He had a booth set up at Magic City Blues. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to my boy Will Goodridge, and he was doing merch there too. So shout out to those guys. That was a lot of fun to see you guys there too. I think the next show we got coming up is Necrogoblicon. It's Guar, but I'm going for Necrogoblicon. And then after that, I think in December, my girlfriend and I are making a trip down to Denver for the Beer and Metal Fest. I'm hoping to catch Cannibal Corpse and Pig Destroyer down there. A few other bands too. Oh, Skinless. Skinless is on that fucking show too. Fuck yeah. That'll be an awesome show. I'm hoping to make that one. We also got the fair coming up too. They're gonna have a few pop artists at the fair and a couple rock bands they pulled right out of the 90s. We're gonna have Elle King, who a lot of people don't realize is Rob Schneider's daughter, and she just didn't want to, write off his name. So Elle Schneider doesn't sound, I don't think, as cool as Elle King. So she's Rob Schneider's daughter. Not a lot of people know that. That's going to be the next show I'm working. And then after that, it's Collective Soul and Switchfoot. They're playing the Day 2 concert of the fair. And then I think Nelly is closing it out. Heard one or two songs by him. I remember he was in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. That's how I mainly know him. And he did a song for that. That's coming up this week. I don't know when I'll be dropping this episode, but coming up mid-August, we have the fair. The fair is a lot of fun. I'm going for the rodeo. I fucking love the rodeo. I don't do any setup for that, which is nice because that just lets me work that show, or that just lets me work the shows and let me enjoy the rodeo. I set up a lot for the fair too. That's part of the stagehand work. I set up all the pins for the stockyard animals, the goats, chickens, pigs, whatnot. And I like going to look at the animals too. I'm an animal guy, so I felt like after I spent 4 days setting up the fucking pens, shoveling shit and straw so these animals could, chill out. I feel so obligated to go after setting up their fucking beds. I want to see them appreciated at least. But the fair's coming up. That's usually triggering the end of summer. We're pretty much it's just kind of all quieting down from here. We're getting ready for the hibernation, the great 9-month hibernation, as it were, here in Montana. So that's gonna be changing. For the first, that's the shitty thing about COVID is it came back. Like when we came back with such a whisper. It didn't feel like it wasn't like. I think a lot of us were expecting like the end of World War II or something like that, where everyone was going to be like in the streets, fucking lighting off fireworks. Woo, we beat COVID. That didn't fucking happen. At least here in Montana, we were pretty adaptable to this shit all the way. We probably had it the lightest of some states, to be quite honest. I feel like Montana and Texas are practically their own, countries at this point. But it was all dealt with pretty moderately here. There was no major mandates. We never had vaccine passports or mandates or anything like that. A few stores didn't let you in without a mask, but that, whatever. I had a eat pussy hail Satan mask, so I had no problem going in. But the problem, because of that, it never felt like we came back or we beat it or there was a big moment. Things just kind of slowly went back to normal, and so this summer, I was personally expecting a pretty wild summer, because this was technically, I mean, more or less, I mean, here in Montana, this is the first summer pretty much restriction free. So I was expecting a big comeback, a lot of shit happening. Pretty quiet. We had a few zoo shows with the Blues Fest and whatnot. It was pretty standard. I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting, more shit. We have these things called Alive After 5, where they're usually a bit more pronounced here in town, but especially with Billings getting bigger. Yeah, after COVID, things kind of came back quietly. It didn't come back all at once. I started comedy at the very, very, I guess you could, I don't know. So I meant to do comedy. They had an open mic every Thursday, and I wanted to go. And I was nervous, but there was one week I decided, like, okay, this is going to be the week I'm going to go. And I ended up passing out. I ended up falling asleep, and I look at my clock, and I missed sign up by like a half hour, so I was like, fuck, I overslept. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. It gives me another week to prepare. I'll just catch the next one. Literally the next week, COVID hits, and COVID had hit, but everything gets shut down. So everything had gotten shut down for I think at that point there's a few months. So I had a few months to work on my act and get that going. And luckily I did, because I realized I'd come close to ripping off a Joe Rogan premise in one of my jokes. And that was going to be like my big joke, and I'm glad I didn't go on stage doing that, because that would have been embarrassing. My first open mic was the first open mic after the pandemic had kind of started to relent. We thought maybe, it was the first wave was coming to an end. And that's, at least here when Montana started to go back to normal. We had a few shutdowns and lapses, but I started my first open mic. The first open mic that came back after COVID. And that's how that started. But like it never felt like it was this big, huge war we won. We never like had the parade in the streets, So, but yeah, really quick, we're gonna take a quick break. Give you a kind of a message from our so-called sponsors here, and then we'll be right back with the show. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by no one. If you would like to be a sponsor on this channel, send us your information at daemonmichael.comedy at gmail.com, or follow the link in the description below. Also, whatever you need, man. Diet supplements, websites, boner pills, you name it and I'll sell it. That's how that works. That email again is daemonmichael.comedy at gmail.com. Now, let's get back to the show. So, in other news, Star Trek actress Nichelle Nichols is dead. She is up there with Spock and the guy that played Bones. You wouldn't know by talking to me, but I've only been into Star Trek for probably less than a week. I literally, here's the creepy thing about Nichelle Nichols dying. I was sitting at home bored, and I was like, you know what? I want to get into Star Trek. It's this entity in my head that's so outside, because I've always been a Star Wars fan. It was so outside my existence in my head that I never thought anything of it, and there's so fucking much. There's the series, I don't know, how many series at this point? 10 series, plus, 2 animated ones, 12 movies. I don't know, there was so much. It's probably the same thing for Star Wars fans, but I feel like it's a bit more, with the movies and everything like that. You got 1 or 2 series, but the movies are pretty, compact. So I was, it seemed easier to get into Star Wars than Star Trek, which is why I never did. But I watched my first episode of Star Trek July 31st, and it was The Cage, I believe, the unaired pilot, or the unused pilot, or something like that. But I watched The Cage, and I was immediately confused, because they just jump you right in. And I go and look on my phone a couple minutes later, and Nichelle Nichols is dying, or has died. And I was like, oh, well, that's a sign. So I ended up watching the Chris Pine movies for, like I said, the reasons where it's just kind of, it condenses and bullet points a few things to help me get into it. I ended up watching the Chris Pine movies, and those were fucking awesome. Like I knew enough because of the pop culture reference and whatnot. I knew enough about the Wrath of Khan and the Khan, that one. I knew enough about that to get some of those references, so I highly enjoyed. At least I haven't seen Beyond yet. I think that's going to be something we're going to watch tonight. But Into Darkness and the first Star Trek movie with Chris Pine, those are two great movies. So that's top-notch sci-fi. It got me. I mean, but I know what made me laugh about it all though was I know that watching those movies, it was a huge fucking deal for Star Trek nerds. Because I'm a Star Wars nerd, and when like Star Wars Episode 7 came out, it was a big deal for Star Wars nerds, and J.J. Abrams, had to get it fucking right. I forgot that he directed both those, but I'm sure there are Star Trek nerds who were like shitting their pants with anger over certain scenes they did in the new movies, the same way us Star Wars fans were shitting our pants over some of the decisions made in the new movies. So it was nice to enjoy a sci-fi fandom that's outside of the realm of the actual fandom, because I wasn't caught up with all the other with all the bullshit of, man, why did they make Uhura gay? It was nice. It was nice to just actually enjoy something for once, without being caught up in fandom. Because I'm a fan of, anything. If you know me, I'm a fan. When I become a fan, I'm a fan of anything. Jurassic Park, Alien, Predator, whatnot, which we'll also get to. I become a fan, so it was nice to be a part of something that wasn't that, in a way. So, but like I was saying, speaking of, Prey released, and it's getting rave reviews online, and I'm super fucking excited to check this movie out. And again, if you know me, you're like, what? You haven't seen it yet? Alien and Predator were like, those are like the original movies that got me into just horror. I think I definitely was. It's pre-kindergarten, because I remember going into kindergarten telling kids about this movie. So I had to be 4 when my mom showed me Aliens, the second one. And it's pretty nuts. I don't really remember a whole lot, whether through it was like I was so fucking horrified, or just I was so young. But I do remember when that lady, when they're going down into the reactor room, and they find that lady, that she's alive. She's trapped up on the resin wall, and she's like, "Kill me!" And like the fucking alien bursts out, and they burn her alive. My mom told me that my eyes were the size of fucking golf balls when I watched that scene, and that is one of my first memories, and that is one of my favorite movies. The Queen in that is so fucking badass. I remember, like, I think that's why, because I liked Godzilla at the time too. I always liked monsters, but I liked Godzilla at the time, and I think I just saw the Queen alien as like a cool Godzilla monster or something like that. But I was always into monsters, and aliens was a big part of that. It was a lot further along when I saw Predator. I don't know why, but I think I saw one. I can't remember when I first saw Predator, to be honest. I think at one point realized, oh man, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you the first time I saw Predator, but I do remember knowing that I fucking loved that movie. I was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I was a big Terminator fan, from a young age. So there's a lot to draw me into that. And then I think I heard about the comics, like the Alien vs. Predator comics, and I was like, oh, they're like connected, and that just got me into it more. It felt like your two best friends meeting, and you're like, oh, you guys are best friends too. We're gonna be all best friends. So that's what it felt like when I found out Alien and Predator connected. That's pretty cool. So I've been a huge fucking fan of those movies. One of my dream jobs is to have is to write for if I could get a scene written for an Alien or Predator series, that would be my dream job. But I haven't seen Prey yet, and the reason for that is because, like I said, I just got done working Magic City Blues. I worked 6 to 3 some days. I worked 6 to 6 one day, and a.m. to p.m. and didn't have time to watch it. And then those same days I had to go back at midnight to load out, so I didn't have like a chance to watch it where I felt like it was I could comfortably sit down and check it out. And the other thing that really bummed me out too was that it didn't have a theater release. And in high school when Predators came out, the Robert Rodriguez one, which is another one of my all-time favorite movies, I snuck into a movie with my friend Everson to see that because it was rated R, and awesome. That was an awesome like memory for like as like a high school like sneaking into an R movie, and then also just an awesome movie. Don't remember where I was going with that, but I like seeing those. I wanted to see. I saw Predator, that last one, that fucking garbage Marvel piece of shit. One of my all-time least favorite movies, right next to Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Two of the worst fucking movies ever. You will never convince me otherwise. But I had a bad taste in my mouth. I saw that movie in theaters, and that was a horrible time. I remember walking out of that movie. I was like, that was not good. I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, that was no good. So I was a little. As soon as I saw that this was going to be Hulu only, I was like, this can't be good either. You know what I mean? Like, there's no faith. And then I'm hearing and I saw the trailer, and my hype was like at like a 10 or 11. You know, I was more hyped for that than I was any Marvel movie in recent memory. When she had those axes and she just fucking flung them back with that tether, that was so cool. So I was immediately hyped for this movie, and I have like a home theater kind of system here, and I wanted to simulate the theater experience. So I think tomorrow I'm inviting a few friends over after comedy, and I got a popcorn maker, I got a movie theater popcorn maker, and I'm just gonna buy candy, drinks, joints, alcohol, all that kind of shit for my friends, so we can have like a theater experience here. Because it's kind of a bummer that that's not going to theaters. And I have all the stuff. I have the capacity to provide that. So why not, you know? I like having friends over. I like cooking. Shit like that. Also, we got open mic comedy tomorrow. As I said, shout out to TJ at Cameron Records for hosting that. I'll be out there tomorrow. It's a pretty interesting time whenever you come out there. Rarely do we actually work on new jokes. Kind of bullshit, see what sticks, see what people are kind of into. If you can make that room laugh, you can make any room laugh. So it's really good. It's really good practice that way, kind of testing yourself against the grind. Which some people don't like. Some people don't like to not get a good reaction every time. They have to be told that they're doing amazing, you know. And I am not. I like to know when I'm doing shitty. Otherwise, it makes the amazing parts. It makes when you know you're doing good, it makes it just feel better. You know, and not to transition so leftly here, but that one thing I want to kind of cap off with, you know, when I do these shows, is I want to talk about things like my thoughts on the comedy scene and whatnot, because this shit's fucking. You know, in Montana, it's fucking hard. It's not a very nurturing environment for artists at all times. You know, it's so small and isolated and away from the attention of a lot of the mainstream stuff or just any big scenes. It's hard out here, especially for comedians. And you got to be self-taught in a lot of the stuff because there's no real examples to base yourself off of. They say to go where good comedians are, which I believe, but I mean here in Montana, we only have such a pool to draw from, and the people that are moving out here aren't comedians, yet. They Joe Rogan had an option between Billings and Austin, and he chose Austin. So I've thought about moving to Austin. My girlfriend's from Oklahoma, and she spent a lot of time in Austin. So she's familiar with the land. I thought that would be a... Sorry, someone walked outside my window. Fucking hell. Goddamn, sometimes. This is what happens when you record in your back room. What was I saying? I unfortunately couldn't tell you how many times I've invited a friend to a comedy show, and they see some people up there, and they're like, no offense, man, but this has literally been said to me, and it's disheartening as fuck. He's like, no offense, man, but I don't want to go to another one of those. He's like, that made me never want to go to a local comedy show again. And local comedy shows can be rough. You know, you're not getting the cream of the crop. You know, you're usually getting friends of friends. And, you know, those people they want to get their friends out there. They don't want to put someone to positively represent comedy, someone who's going to get reactions up there. It's part of the business, you know, something you got to deal with and work around, but that's the way it is. But those kind of people are going to be big fish in small ponds. Billings is not a big city. Despite its growth, it is a small town still. And people think that if they're big and popular here, that's good enough for them. And you know what? Maybe that is good enough for them. But that's not, to me, how you grow, or, you know, you become successful or become professional. I'm, at best, an amateur comedian at the moment, you know. But these people who have their friends come out and have their friends laugh at the jokes for them, when they go out on an actual stage, they get no laughs, you know. And that's not where I want to go with it. I want to do something more. I want to test myself. I just want to be... I mean, what's the point of fucking doing something if you don't want to see how good you can be at it, you know? And some people don't want to see how good they can be at it. They just want to be popular. They want attention. They can do them. That's fine. They host the open mics, and I go to them. That's how that works. I have been reluctant to actually host a show or an open mic or start one because this is not a good way to get your material in. You know, it's just it's good. It's a good platform for you know, fellow comedians to get on, and that's what I would like to do if I could. That would be one reason I'd want to do it, but I'm not a good host, and it has to be, you know, if you want to do something like that, you have to be consistent, and you have to be willing to consistently host, and I'm not. I don't like hosting a whole lot of stuff, live especially. I like doing my acting, getting off the stage. You know, I like to come, tell my jokes I wrote down, and go home. I'm barely social, you know what I mean? Which is a drawback. I need to be more social. I need to get out there. I need to talk to more people. I need to stay after shows more. It's what comedy is essentially, well, it was essentially a third job. So I had to juggle that with my other job and then stagehands and whatnot. But now it's just stagehands and comedy, which is why I'm focusing on this shit. I'm focusing on the podcast more, and I do want to grow. That's part of what I said earlier. We are growers, not showers here. If you're not a big fan of this episode, stick it out. I have a few more ideas in mind. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff here. I want to do a lot of stuff here. I want to have friends on. This is not going to be just me talking all the time. I have guests that I have lined up that I want to talk to. And I want to do subjects like... I'm a big music and movie fan. I'm not lack of interests. I can find things to talk about with any number of people. I like paleontology. I like history. We're going to find some shit here to talk about. It's not going to be all one note. It's not going to be just me. We're gonna get new, better equipment. I got cameras hopefully coming in soon that we're going to be filming some of the podcasts with, so you don't got to look at just the one picture. And then ads. I mean, you heard our ad read. Always looking for ads, or sponsors, I should say. I'm excited. This has been the first successful recording session I've had since doing this, because this has taken, God, it went from taking 3 months to 6 months to 9 months to now. So it's taken about a year to get this thing going, and that's been due to just nervousness, technical issues. I had 2 USB mics, and I thought that would work. Turns out that in the age of 2022, in the age of technology that we are in, you can't just plug 2 USB microphones in and have 2 people talk at once. So we figured it out. We're here. I got things going. We got another microphone here. I have another chair sitting next to me. I want to do things like clips. Show clips of gross shit. Talk about news. I'm not without the good conspiracy theory either. We'll get into that shit too. You know what I mean? So I don't know exactly the direction this is going to go in. I don't want to get too political. I don't want to be political. I don't want to get politicized. Some of my favorite shit in life is stuff that is not politicized. Maybe I'm going to end up going that way. I don't know. This is all very new to me. I'm just kind of testing the waters. It's like jumping into comedy. You're not really sure. It's like my first open mic. I put it off for a while. And then now I'm finally here doing it. And it's exciting. But it's daunting. It all comes together. Eventually, you kind of have, every now and then you kind of have these moments where you're like, oh, I fucking get it. This is how that works. And that's the fun of it. That's why I like to do this. That's why I've recorded, I'm not even shitting you, there's 10 recorded episodes that will never see the light of day because they're off in virtual cyberspace, hell, whatever, just to get this going, because it's been a struggle just trying to talk to an invisible person here. Luckily, I have my cat here, Benjamin, who I've been talking to. He's been a great audience member, so shout out to him and my other cat, Liana. They are my co-hosts for the evening. So yeah, that's I think I'm about ready to wrap it up. This has been the first episode of the House of Contempt, folks. Ideally, I'll release this on a weekly basis. Might be bi-weekly. It might be monthly. We'll see. I'm just happy that I got this first episode out. So I appreciate it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please check back next week. Just keep checking out on the YouTube channel. I'm always going to be posting stuff. Hopefully, I'm going to be posting more sets. I just got in touch with a videographer, so that's going to be kind of nice. We'll have some more content on the channel, because I do apologize for anyone that I've been giving my cards out to that have searched my YouTube channel and found my 2 videos. So here's the 3rd one, and we'll add on from there. So this has been the first episode of the House of Contempt, everyone. I thank you very much, and God bless America. Thank you.